Welcome back, everybody. So tonight I am going to let you know how much proof these went up. I got 3 bourbons, 1 tequila. I emptied them out of the full-size mini barrel back on the 1st of the year. So I'm going to give you some tasting notes, and I'm going to start with the lowest proof and go through the highest proof. So I'm going to do 4 tonight, then I'll do 4 after that, and then the other 4 at the end of the night. And I'll just tell you, one of these things went up to 138 proof. Not one of these, but one of the ones I'm going to show you in a couple weeks. Okay, let's roll the intro. Alright, so the first one we're going to start with, now all these here, I barreled them on October 19th of 24, and I emptied them on January 1st of 25. So they are roughly 10.5 weeks. They've been in those full-size mini barrels. So this one is Cimarron Tequila Blanco. Look at how dark that is. So this thing had a lid that I toasted at 400 degrees, but it was a cherry lid, and I put the remainders of an old lid that in a mini barrel I had aged some bourbon down inside of that. So that's another reason why it's so much darker. But oh, I didn't tell you the proof. So Cimarron, you know, like most tequilas, it's bottled at 80 proof. This thing went up to 87 proof, and it's a nice color, you know, and it's actually got some decent legs on it. So man, so those cherry lids, they give the bourbons, well, in this case, the tequila, a note that it's so unique, and it's almost like, I want to say raspberry now, you know, it's like this kind of tart, citrusy berry type note, and I'm picking that up on the nose, but also toasted marshmallows, and obviously those agave, like vegetal notes that you would get on a tequila, but it smells buttery. It does. It smells really buttery. Something I've learned with lids that I've toasted to 400 degrees is, actually these ones I think I may have roasted them, is the darker that oak gets from toasting it, that just translates into the flavor it imparts to whatever spirit you put into that barrel, a more richer roasted note, which might not work for everybody. But you can, well, let me just get into this. Enough talking. Oh yeah. Definitely still carries, that's warming. You can 100% tell this is a tequila. You've got that delicious agave sweetness, but it has just depth now. You can think of like an añejo tequila. They just have more of that barrel influence, a little more oak spice on them. I typically prefer an añejo. I like a blanco or an añejo, some extra añejos. I don't really care for reposados. But man, this is, You hear people say smooth. I know it's only 87 proof, but it just like glides across your palate very smooth. And then as it's going across your palate, it's just starting to ramp and ramp and ramp. And you're tasting the influence of that cherry lid. But still, I would say some of that oak lid that I had cut into pieces and put down inside. Lots of warm, gingery spices is how I would describe them. Not like the spice you would typically get from an oak barrel. It's more of a zingy, gingery spice. It's good. I don't know if I'll use cherry lids again. I think I prefer an oak lid to a cherry lid, and Yeah, I'll just say that. But man, that is, that's tasty. Now you might be able to tell the difference. I don't know on the camera the color difference between some of these. The Wild Turkey 101 is a lot less dark. I think because I did not put an old lid that I pulled out. I cut them in half and I charred the other side that wasn't charred. Put them in. That's why I like the Cimarron is so dark and this Benchmark is so dark, and the Four Roses are so dark. Okay. The next one going up in proof, we've got Four Roses single barrel. It's crazy dark, and this is one that I also used a cherry lid on, but I again put that cut up piece of the oak lid, recharred it, stuck it down in there. Now, something at first that seemed odd to me with this is, as you know, Four Roses single barrel is 100 proof. This thing only went up to 104 proof, and I was trying to figure out why. And what it was is I had 2 bottles of this. This was, we did a video. Does, the bottom tier of the rack make a difference compared to a whiskey barrel that's aged at the top tier of the rack inside of the rickhouse? So I had 2 Four Roses from the same rickhouse, same side of the rickhouse, same year. One was bottom, one was top. I had about half of them left, and they sat like that for a few months, so I'm guessing they probably lost proof. I emptied both of them into the barrel. So my guess is they weren't 100 proof when I put them into the barrel. But let's see on the nose. Wow. So I don't think the cherry lids work. Some of the whiskeys, they seem to work. Some of them they didn't. I would say this Four Roses, I'm going to say don't go with the cherry lid if you're wanting to age Four Roses. I would recommend sticking with oak lids from now on, but it almost has a medicinal scent to it on the nose, like burnt Band-Aids, which is strange. I would get that note from a Lafroig, which is delicious, but it's just different in this case. Man, all right, let's go for the palate. Yeah, it overpowered. I mean, it's tasty. There's a ton of spice on the finish, man. But it's overpowering the Four Roses bourbon inside. And I think if I would have maybe not put those recharred oak lids that I cut up down inside, it might have turned out different. This one is not my favorite. I'll just tell you that. It tastes like burnt Band-Aids and cinnamon. So I'll use it for mixing. The cherry lid does not work with Four Roses. It might be too delicate. I don't know. But I had to experiment and find out, right? Okay, Wild Turkey 101. Now this bottle, I had about this much in the bottom of a handle of Wild Turkey 101, so I don't think it was 101 proof. I'm actually sure it wasn't when I barreled it. But this thing is 108 proof, and this one only had a cherry lid. Roasted to 400 degrees and charred. No extra oak pieces put down inside the barrel. And you can see the color difference. The cherry itself does not impart the same kind of color that an oak lid does, but it made 101 smell lighter and more herbal on the nose. There is some butteriness. Something I noticed when you double oak bourbons in these full-size mini barrels, the buttery and a lot of times marshmallowy flavor really comes through. Marshmallow, I'm not so much getting on this 101, but it's definitely buttery. Let's see. That's good. For some reason, the cherry lid works with the 101. I think I prefer the oak lid to the cherry lid, but it does work. It makes 101 taste more like a rye whiskey. Maybe that's what these lids do. Like if you use a cherry lid, it will make a bourbon kind of lean towards that rye spice, that green herbaceous like vegetal notes. It works with the 101. It's pretty tasty. It doesn't have that hot, like very sweet, intense, marshmallowy vanilla custard that I've got on the other 101. Where'd it go? This guy right here, that's the one that I, aged in the mini barrel with the oak lid. But it is enjoyable. I've used this in some cocktails and it's pretty good. If you want to make a bourbon taste like a rye, use a cherry lid. Now this is Benchmark Bonded. It's probably one of my, well, I've only tried 3 Benchmarks. Foolproof, single barrel, and this bonded. And I think this is probably, of those 3, maybe my least favorite. So this, oh, I didn't rinse that out. Oh well. This wasn't a full bottle when I barreled it. I don't believe it was, but Benchmark Bonded, 100 proof, obviously, went up to 110 proof in the 10.5 weeks. And this, okay, this one I did use an oak lid that I roasted to 400, so it got very dark. But you can see how incredibly dark that is. That's because I did use an old lid that I cut in half. I recharred, or I should say I just charred the side that wasn't charred. I put that down inside the barrel. I was trying to take up some space because this wasn't a full bottle. So that's why it's so intensely dark. All right, let's see. The nose. And again, this probably wasn't 100 proof when I barreled it because it had been open for a while. It's about here, Okay, now we're smelling like a rich bourbon, okay? This smells like we'll sit outside in the summer and roast marshmallows outside. This smells like when your marshmallow is burning and you blow it out and that smoke that comes off of it, it's still kind of sweet, but that charred, burnt marshmallow, that's what this is, just pure burnt marshmallow on the nose. So let's go for the palate. And got barrel char. You probably can't see that, but there's chunks of barrel char, which is kind of cool. Yeah. Man. Whoa, that finish punches you with like just, it's like burnt cinnamon, burnt marshmallows, burnt caramel. Something I'm learning, I'm going to just share with you what I learn as I share like my journey using these full-size mini barrels is I think because I put that extra cut up lid that's charred down inside of that mini barrel, and I roasted these at 400 degrees, which I'm going to stop doing now. It's intense. What I've noticed is when you do roast at 400 degrees, you can pour like 50-50 this, 50% of this, and 50% another, let's say the same whiskey, and it creates a very delicious whiskey. It almost makes like a concentrate if you roast or even toast for over 2 hours. Well, not toast. You have to roast at 400 degrees. I'm starting to just toast the lids with the oven set to bake and not roast. I'm kind of liking what it does more, but this is enjoyable. For an $18 bottle, that's what I paid for this thing. This drinks like a I don't know, $40, $45 bottle of bourbon. It's pretty good. It would, I'm sure it would blow regular benchmark bonded out of the water. What I'm going to do, I poured, I think, samples of all these into like 2-ounce little bottles before I barreled them. So I'm going to, I think I will put the standard bottling and then the double oaked mini barrel sample. I'll put them into some of our double dram blinds, and we'll just kind of see, like, what do we really think? Did it make them better or not? So, okay, well, let me know what you think. Stick around next week. I'm going to do the next 4 that are going up in proof, and I think we're jumping. The next ones, they're all like 120 to 138 proof. The next 8, they're ridiculous. Okay, I'll see you next week.